Here we have the bin vent filter. This is located on top of the silo, and what this does is it has an air gap here, so when this equipment is operating, it's going to be when you are loading the silos. So this is sized for a pneumatic truck. This particular size is our 280. Basically, we have 4 cartridge filters that would sit in here. This is the filter here. Each filter has 70 square feet of fabric for filtration. And during the loading process, when lime is being blown from the truck into the silo, the air needs somewhere to go, so it'll come up through these filters and up out and escape here. Meanwhile, getting all the particles trapped in the process. On the back side of the bin vent filter is an air receiver and a blower. So this is on a timer. Every so often it will blow and will reverse air back through these venturies. As you see, the air holes here, through these venturies, and puff the dust off of the filters back into the silo. There's a number of safety features here on top of the silo. There's a locking mechanism that goes into place so that the lid is locked open, so that ease of maintenance. These filters slide directly down in. They slide into the silo area. This bin vent filter has a low profile. Basically, as you see it now, this is about as high as it sits off of the silo rooftop. This is the bin activator. This will go on the bottom of the silo, the bottom cone section. This really helps keep the lime moving, keep getting it out of the silo. Basically, the whole thing shakes and helps get the lime from the silo into the process, into further material handling. All right, we're standing on top of the roof cap of the modular system. This is where the silo will be placed on the structure. As you can see, we've got the anchor bolts on all 4 corners. This is where the silo will stand. The bin activator will come down into the lime chute here, and here the pneumatic knife gate will open up and close depending on lime feed. Additionally, on top of on this platform, we have the fan and the discharge of the wet scrubber that will remove the hot air from the slaker while it is in the slaking process. We'll talk more about the scrubber when we're with the slaker, and we can get into the details of how that operates. But this is the fan and the induced draft that blows out to remove the heat from the slaker. On the bottom section of the roof cap, we see the volumetric feeder, which will receive lime from the main day silo. The function of this is to meter in lime at a controlled rate going into the slaker. So whatever the feed rate for lime is, this will measure it out and will refill the hopper as needed. All right, here we are in the slaker level of the modular box system. And here we see the M15 slaker and the degridding system. So what we have here is the M15 slaker, as I said, the drive component driving the shaft of the paddle. It is a horizontal shaft paddle that constantly breaks the surface of the lime slurry inside the slaker, always forcing the lime down into the slurry so you don't get any hot spots. This helps maintain a more consistent temperature within the slaker. Located here is the wetting bowl. Water and lime will come together. Water enters the wetting bowl tangentially, and lime comes down from the lime feeder that we looked at down directly here. And what this does is it creates a shroud of water around the lime. So as lime falls down, it's got a curtain of water around it, and this helps maintain all of the dust going into the bath of the Slaker. Also on top of the Slaker, we have our induced draft wet scrubber, and we saw the fan on the top portion over there. Here you can see how the fan would pull air directly out of the Slaker and up. There's a spray nozzle here and the purpose of the spray nozzle is to help coalesce and knock down any steam and particles that may be pulled up in the draft. Make sure that we're not blowing any steam or mass out of our system. There are baffles at the top section of the wet scrubber, and what that really does is make sure that any of the fanned material or the wetted material kind of gets slowed down and forced back down into the scrubber. One thing that's important to note on the combination of the wetting bowl and the scrubber, as they work together to maintain safety and housekeeping in the Slaker, there's a gap between the wetting bowl and the Slaker top that acts as a positive airflow. So when the scrubber fan is pulling air out, air is also going back down into the Slaker, so you're not pulling a vacuum on the Slaker itself. On the outside of the Slaker, we have our water manifold. Our Slaker is maintained, our slaking process is maintained by temperature at 185 degrees Fahrenheit or 85 degrees Celsius, and this is really what helps us control that process. This is the temperature probe, and this tells the control system what the temperature of the Slaker is. If the Slaker gets too hot, it knows to add more water. If the Slaker gets too cold, it knows to cut water back and allow the exothermic reaction to increase the temperature. Additionally, one thing that isn't quite obvious, but there's a jacket on this Slaker. There's a jacketed cooler or water heater. So as water enters into the Slaker, on this one that's over here, enters into the jacket, and it makes multiple passes in the system until it comes back up and enters the wetting bowl. This adds a little bit of temperature to the water, as well as creating a cooler surface along here. So this is our main water manifold. If an operator were needing to look at instrumentation, we operate the Slaker at 185 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature of this shell here would be much less than that, so that you don't have the concern of burns. The Slaker itself overflows into the degridding system. What the degridding system does is it removes the grit from the lime slurry, so that the lime slurry is more of a pure product. Grit is what this machine does is shakes and rotates. You get the grit going to the outside. Eventually it'll come out into this downcomer, and then onto a screw conveyor, which will take it outside of the building. It dumps into a container for disposal. The good lime slurry goes through the screen down into a separate holding tank. This is the ground level module for the modular box system. This houses the mix tank and the agitator, as well as the pumps. The pumps aren't installed yet, but this is the pump stand where they will be installed. Additionally, all of our controls will be up against this wall. This is the brains of the system. This is where it tells you what equipment is operating and how it's being controlled.